Tracer.
Hello everyone, this is TracerPixel128, and today I'm going to be taking a look at this. This is an Asus EeePC 901. My dad purchased this from PC Mall back in 2009 for $5. It was a pricing error. It was originally supposed to cost $200, but he got it for $5, and we also just used it to play around with. I remember it had like various versions of Ubuntu on it. I don't know what's running on it. Probably a version of Ubuntu, but some ports on the side. Here's an SD card slot with a plastic piece that's supposed to be a blank. Two USB 2.0 ports on the side. These have the dongles for the wireless keyboard and mouse I'm going to use with this system, and you'll see why I'm doing that in a minute. VGA and the AC power, and right here is the battery. And on this side you have a Kensington lock, Ethernet, another USB 2.0 port, line in and headphones, and a grill for the fan. Let me open it up. Let me bring the camera down so you can see it. It has a 1.3 megapixel webcam. Here's the keyboard and the trackpad. The reason why I'm using a wireless keyboard and mouse with this system is we took this thing apart back in 2011 because it started having issues, and well, the keyboard and the mouse do not work. So, whoa. In this video, I'm going to be using an external keyboard and mouse of this system. I know, kind of weird, but that's the best I can do. I think of this video. Hold on for 1 second. I need to go get a thumb drive because it's packed up somewhere. I need to go get it. Hold on. Found it. It was actually, found it somewhere. Here is my 1 gigabyte thumb drive with a copy of Ubuntu 10.10 Maverick Meerkat, the Netbook Remix. I have had this thumb drive forever. I think it's about as old as that. This was my dad's as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it on the side here, and I'm going to turn it on. Or hold on. Just plugged it in to charge, and here we go. I almost want to hook this up to my secondary monitor that's next to mine. I don't know why I picked 3D open, but I want to close that for now. You just look at the use my wallpaper. Let's install. Should take a while because this system is old and it wasn't really that powerful to begin with when it first came out in 2008. We got it back in 2009. Here's the Ubuntu startup. I think they changed this recently, but I forget which version. It's been a while since I last played around with Ubuntu. It was a go-to distro for a lot of people. Just getting some water. I know people nowadays, they usually use Linux Mint or Pop! OS. Do you remember Pop! OS? Wasn't it made by System 76 that makes Linux laptops? Yeah. Or even other flavors of Ubuntu, like Ubuntu Mate. That is one that people use. It's slowly loading the desktop. Wireless networks available. I don't know why wireless is disabled, and for some reason Bluetooth is disabled. I'm not using any Bluetooth devices with the system. I think I'm probably going to use a network cable with the system, so I will be right back. Okay, I found the network cable. It's actually hooked up to my range extender over there. And And let's see if I can get connected. Now we're in the welcome, so forward. This should take a while because, like I said, this is an old system. Yeah, something is going on. Let me go back. Huh. That is weird. All I had to do was just unplug it and plug it back in. Just as simple as that. Okay. Now let's go forward. Yeah, I think I'll just download updates and install third-party software. I remember I was having issues with this netbook about a month ago when I was working on this, a couple weeks ago. I do have footage of me trying to install Ubuntu on this netbook, and it failed. Probably make it like the bloopers of this video. And it should take a while. Oh, I'll just erase and use the entire disk. Forward. Yes. Or I could just go back and go forward again and then use the entire partition. Because I remember running into an issue. This computer originally did have Maverick Meerkat on it. And then I tried to install Karma Koala on it back in 2015 and I ran into issues with it and I assumed the SSD was dead. Then I booted into a copy of DBAN and erased the entire drive. I could just do the erase method and install. Hopefully it works. Cross all of your fingers and hopefully this works. And hey, it's going. We'll do New York. Why not? USA. The keyboard layout. And I'm going to do this off camera. I'll just do login automatically. Thank you for choosing Ubuntu 10.10. And yes, it is actually pronounced Ubuntu, because of course it's named after the South African philosophy of humanity. Humanity towards others. I've seen other people on YouTube say Ubuntu, Ubuntu, Ubuntu. No. I had to sneak Uzume in there somehow. But this is going to take a little while for it to install. I was just hope I'm not running into the same problems as I did back in 2015. I think I did not install it properly. And as I said earlier, I used an older version of DBAN to erase the entire drive, and it worked. I was worried that I was going to shell out like $50 or $60 for a new mSATA SSD. Here I thought, nobody really uses mSATA at all anymore. It's been superseded by NVMe and M.2. In fact, in this computer over here, there is an M.2 or NVMe SSD in there. It's 120 gigabyte by Kingston that my dad got for a laptop he had. But it did not work, so he gave it to me, and it works fine on my computer. It has nothing loaded on it. Maybe I could put Linux on it. Who knows? And now it's scanning the CD-ROM? This is running off of a thumb drive. This isn't from a CD-ROM. Although, that was common at the time, where people would load it via CD-ROM if you had an external CD burner. I do have one, but it's packed up. Well, I did make this announcement on some of the Discord servers I'm on, but I'm actually planning on moving with my cousins soon. Next month, and we're actually planning a live stream on Twitch for New Year's, so go check that out if you're interested. Starting PC card services, even though there is no PCMCIA slot or card bus slot on this computer, it's probably referring to, when it says PC card, it's probably referring to the SD card so it can recognize it. However, I don't think we ever used the SD card slot on this computer, as the only SD cards that we had on here, or had at the time, were a 1GB and a 2GB. The 1GB is in my Wii, and the 2GB is in my DSi somewhere that I actually took from the Wii. You know, I could do something. I have some SD card adapters laying around, but I don't have any micro SD cards on me. So maybe I could try something. Yeah, it's running Grub. Supported services Twitter, Facebook, and something called identity.ca. I have never heard of that social media site. I don't know if it's still around. Facebook and Twitter, obviously, they're still around, but what is identity.ca? Judging by the URL, it was probably Canada. Probably only in Canada. I'll probably do research on that after this video. I tend to do that because I'm curious. Browse the web. That's nostalgic. That's an old version of YouTube. Does anybody remember when YouTube used to look like that? Those are the days. Firefox. It supported, oh wow, Flash. It was back when YouTube used to use Flash and Google Chrome with the old Chrome icon. Probably just going to keep Firefox on here because I don't think Chrome is supported on this version of Ubuntu anymore. I don't think so. Firefox probably worked just fine. But yeah, that I remember when YouTube used to look like that. In late 2010. Those were the days. Good times. And installation is complete. Need to restart the computer in order to use the new installation, so I'll reboot now. We'll now restart. I said getting a whole bunch of notifications because I'm filming this on my phone. What the? Oh. That was weird. I did something wrong and there's a blinking cursor. Oh, that was Ubuntu. Logging in. I always loved playing around with Linux because it just felt different compared to Windows. There were a couple times in my life where I used Linux as my main PC, on my main PC. From late 2011, I want to say it was like August 2011, up until April, May 2012, I was using Linux on our main desktop. It was an HP compact that was made around 2005 that originally shipped with Windows XP. Yeah, I know it's about time for a Tracer Pixel tells a story, but anyways. And it had Ubuntu on it, and I remember using it a lot. I would mostly just surf the internet. I was a frequent user on Lego.com back in the day. I used to visit the Lego Universe Creation Lab and the message boards. And Lego.com was such a fun website. I loved going on there. In fact, that website is actually how I got my start online. If I never would have went on there, I would have never been interested in making videos or art like I am now. Those are the days. Yep. And then the second time was in the summer of 2014 when I used a Dell Precision 690. I actually have footage of it that I'll probably put into the video to show it in action. Or maybe I could just upload that as like a lost episode or something. Because that's some old footage from like years ago that I never Did I upload it? I don't think I think I did, but I probably deleted the video or something, or I'll probably re-upload it as like a lost episode. A lost video. For you to check out my old Linux box in action in the summer of 2014 where I ran trusty tar on it. And I had a lot of fun with that system. I remember editing videos on it and recording footage of me playing the video game Portal. That was a fun time. As for what happened to those computers, well, they got recycled. For the HP Compaq, we put Windows 7 on it and gave it to our next door neighbor since they needed a computer for their grandson. As for the Dell Precision 690, well, we tried to put in a video card upgrade. We had bought a AMD Radeon 280X video card. It was 7 years newer than the system. The computer was made in 2007 and originally shipped originally shipped with Windows Vista. But it had no hard drive in it when I got it, so I took the hard drive out of my dad's old server, put it in there, and ran Ubuntu on it for about 3 months. Actually, no, 2 months. And then the motherboard got scratched, or the motherboard got damaged as we were trying to upgrade it. And the computer just stopped working, so we ended up just recycling it years later. Then I ended up getting a brand new computer, that being my 2014 gaming rig, which is currently being used by my mom as her computer. I did run Ubuntu on it, but since the video card was by XFX, and XFX graphics cards from that generation they don't play well with operating systems other than Windows. Because I heard reports of people making Hackintoshes using those video cards, XFX AMD GPUs, and they did not work well because of the VBIOS it uses. However, someone was able to flash it with an Asus VBIOS from an Asus card of the same model, and it worked. But I didn't know how to do that at the time, so I was clueless. And I remember crying out of frustration because the graphics card driver had crashed, and then I was just like, forget it, I'm going back to Windows, so I went back to Windows 7 after that. And the only other times I played with Linux was via VM, or on things like the Raspberry Pi. I mean, Linux is a fun operating system, or a fun kernel, as well as distributions. And it could serve many purposes, if you're running a server or a cloud, or, no, don't fade out. Or you just want to play around, or if you are tired of using Windows or Mac, you could just try Linux. Personally, for me, it's not something I would use on a daily basis, especially since I rely heavily on software that is not natively available on Linux, especially the Adobe suite, which is not available on Linux. So if I were to switch to Linux, that means I would have to use open source equivalents, which I have no problem with. I'm already using GIMP for making artwork and stuff. And I use Audacity for audio editing and things like that. Sound recording. But that's a whole other topic. I was just rambling on about me using Linux, and I haven't really talked about me getting into the desktop again. Let's see what applications are. Applications. This is going to be a long video because of how this is. So you have About Me, additional drivers, Isle Riot Solitaire. I think that's still included in newer versions of Ubuntu, but correct me if I'm wrong. Appearance, System Technologies, reminds me of the ease of access that's in Windows, Bluetooth, broadcast preferences, calculator, character map, Cheese. I think this is still included, I think. Computer janitor, dictionary, disk utility, email settings, empathy. It's not even included anymore. I remember older versions of Ubuntu came with Pigeon, which is a similar messaging client. Evolution, calendar, contacts, mail. I remember when Ubuntu used to come, I think it still comes with Mozilla Thunderbird. Of course, Firefox, Gwibber, social client. I think it's for like Facebook, Twitter, etc. Keyboard input methods, keyboard shortcuts, language support, log file viewer, login screen, Mahjong, which is another game that it comes with. I thought it just comes with Solitaire nowadays. Main menu, messaging accounts, monitors, mouse, movie player. I think it comes with an updated one. This still comes with OpenOffice.org. This was in 2010 when Oracle bought Sun Microsystems. Everyone knows about this. And they had OpenOffice. For a while, Oracle had developed it, and then they sold it to Apache, of course. Nowadays, Ubuntu comes with LibreOffice, which is developed by the same people. Some of the ex-developers of OpenOffice. Network connections, network proxy, just network stuff, passwords. Power management if you're running it on a laptop or a netbook. Preferred applications, printing. Quadrapassal, I think it's a Tetris clone. Rhythmbox. You know, in the next release of Ubuntu after this, 11.04 Natty Narwhal, it replaces Rhythmbox with Banshee Music Player for some reason. And then they went back to Rhythmbox. Screensaver, Shotwell, I think Shotwell's still included. Simple Scan, Sound Recorder. Startup applications, Startup Disk Creator, Sudoku, Synaptic, Package Manager, System Monitor, which is the equivalent to Task Manager, of course, System Testing, Take Screenshot, Terminal, Text Editor, Time and Date, Tomboy Notes. That's not even included in Ubuntu anymore. And of course, I love the name. And yeah, I'm a tomboy. Oh, had to reference that. If you know what song I'm referencing, you're awesome. Transmission, torrent client, that's still included. Ubuntu 1. That is interesting. Basically, if you don't know what Ubuntu 1 is, presuming that you are a newer user of Ubuntu, Ubuntu 1 was Canonical's cloud service. I think it was also a music store as well as a sign-in service, but it was a cloud service, similar to like Mega, Google Drive, etc., where you could save your files to the cloud. And I think it used Amazon Web Services. There was something by Amazon that they used, so they were powered by Amazon at one point. And then they shut it down in 2014 because nobody was really using it. But Ubuntu 1 still exists as an account creation service for things like the Ubuntu forums. Ubuntu Software Center, I think that got replaced by the GNOME Software Center, I think. Update Manager, Users and Groups, and Windows. This is running an early version of Unity. Yeah, of course I had to choose the name. Uzme, yep. Put in like your personal info, like your address. I don't know why you would put your address on your computer. Contact info, including your instant messaging. AIM, MSN, and Yahoo don't exist anymore. Not sure about GroupWise, and I know ICQ still exists. Pretty much every single person I know uses Discord nowadays, so. Except for a few that still use Google Chat, which is what it's called now. Or even something like Facebook Messenger. Then you could put like your web page, your home page, or what your job is. If this was a work computer. Let's open up Firefox and see what's on there. Oh, secure connection failed. I don't know why it did that. That is weird. Well, Mozilla Firefox. This is running a very older an older version of Firefox. This is version 3.6.10 from 2010. I remember when Firefox was like this. I know Firefox is still around. Let's see if I could just, pull up a web page. Let's go to Google. Yep, Google still pulls up. Oh. Let's search up yours truly. Yeah. For some reason, it comes up with the mobile side of Google. And I don't think YouTube would load on this thing because of how slow it is, and modern websites, they use a lot of cache and scripts and stuff that's not supported on this version of Firefox. Latest headlines, if you're using RSS feeds. Nobody really uses RSS feeds anymore. But yeah, you can also load images. Some of the stuff from some of my old videos, like my shortcuts in the air video, my Mac Mini video, Bixby in your area. Does anybody remember when I was into Bixby? Or does anybody remember when I would make AI videos? That was a long time ago, but I'm glad that those videos are still being viewed. So, yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this video of me demonstrating Ubuntu 10.10 Maverick Meerkat on this Asus EeePC 901. Hope you all enjoy this video, and stay tuned for more videos.